Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And on today's episode, we are going to talk about life pivots, what it means to transition in life, have to, change course.
And we have a challenge for you. Very simple challenge, because in this episode, we're talking about the pivot, right? Pivoting, shifting, adjusting. And the challenge for you today is to just sit and reflect. Sit and reflect on the things in your life that's been speaking to your soul, right? Whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your career, whether it's in your parenting style, whatever it may be, sit and reflect and write down exactly what is it that's speaking to your soul, because oftentimes your body talks to you, right? Mm-hmm. And what that means is you should listen. So your challenge, listen to what your body is saying, listen to what your soul is saying, and find out if there's an area where you need to pivot. So get ready for this episode, tune in, and make sure you don't only hear us, but you listen. Take care.
I'm Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for
a hell of a ride.
Everything life, love, and legacy. So I'm known as a licensed psychologist, a global speaker, consultant, and trainer. Okay. Leader in the mental health game.
All right. Well, a lot of people know me as an international speaker and peak performance coach. And I've written a few books as well.
Yes. And we happen to be married.
Yes. 12 years. We have 2 beautiful sons.
Yes. And we're doctors and entrepreneurs.
Yes, indeed. And if you're watching us, listening to us right now, we're going to talk everything identity and purpose, career and money, relationships.
Oh, everything health and wellness.
Everything health and wellness. So buckle up.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Let's do it. All right.
Well, I need to paint my toenails crusty.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Life, love, and legacy.
Hey, life, feet, and polish.
I need to give a life to my feet.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, look at that.
I ain't gonna say that. Them damn dogs.
You gotta rub them and massage them tonight.
I got you.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Kind of dirty.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, baby.
It's nothing. For the fellas out there that you don't rub on your lady's feet.
Even when they're crusty. Make sure you set them right.
Thank
you, honey.
All right. So, weather report. How you feeling? What's up? Where you at?
I'm awake and alert at this point. So I would say sun, very warm because I bring a lot of heat to any environment. But there's a cool breeze. Okay. So it's comfortable. Okay. I'm doing good today.
I love it. All right. I would say the same. Once again, I woke up. But I'm feeling sunny. I'm feeling as though I want to go run outside, but it's too hot outside. That's how I feel, right? My weather's hot out there, but it looks good. But I'll wait till a little later to do what I got to do.
You want to run outside?
Yeah.
So you're bringing vibrant energy.
There you go. A lot of energy.
Today.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like that?
I do.
I got to bring it because somebody was a little in too deep of a sleep. My grandma was
gone. Oh, my goodness. I know. Like, I missed the alarm and everything.
It's all good. We got to get our sleep, right?
Yes, you
got to get our sleep. So what's top of mind for you right now?
So you know what? I know this sounds a little like trivial.
Yeah.
But you know what I've been thinking about? I've been thinking about women that be lying about their age.
That's random, but okay.
I know. Like, look, I just entered 40 territory.
You lied to me I thought you was like 25.
I just entered 40 territory, and I'm all about it.
Okay.
I'm proud of it. I'm excited for it. I feel very like adult, like young, but grown, And I was just thinking about like how there's this cultural thing of like, you don't ever say your age or like kind of like lying about your age. Look, I am way more fine at 40 than I would be at 23. Like, why would I say I'm 23 or 25? Like,
that's in the eyes of the beholder. That's in the eyes of the beholder.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I get you.
I'm a fine 40.
No, you're not. You're beautiful.
Thanks, babe.
Gorgeous.
Thanks, honey.
Fine is for girls. You're a woman. A grown, crusty ass woman. But no, I'm just kidding. You're beautiful.
Thank you, baby. And same for you. Like, you get better with age, honey.
Thank you.
You get, I mean, the salt and pepper. I remember when I used to pluck your gray hairs out.
Yeah.
There are way too many to do
But
now.
they've been here since I was in my 20s.
Yeah, but you didn't have nearly that many.
Yeah.
You had a few.
I actually dyed my beard. So you think it's gray?
No, it's gray. Trust, I see it every day.
I love my salt and pepper. It's so funny because some women, they were probably about in their 60s. They came up to me one time and they said, "Excuse me," I was in Vegas, matter of fact, at the pool. "Excuse me, how old are you? You look so young, but you have these grays." I said, "Old enough and young enough at the same time," and I walked off.
Oh yeah, you're so dramatic,
mysterious,
but, you know.
And then I saw them just like.
You heated up.
I was like, yeah. But no, it's cool.
Think about it. Like, why would you want to be 25?
Well, I don't think, I think what we have to understand is, you know, the way that I see it, when people don't take care of themselves and they age, they don't like how they look, right? And I think more and more people are starting to take care of themselves. So one, they don't look their age. And two, they've come to terms with, I'm healthy, I feel good, I'm okay. This is how old I am. But some people, I don't think they feel that way.
Yeah, but that's even more of a reason not to lie. You don't want to look like a run down 30-year-old.
You don't want to look like a.
If anything, you lie up, like, so you match.
Let's keep it a buck,
like,
though.
I look old,
let's keep it a buck. Some of the homies that have less melanin than I do.
Oh, babe.
No. Some of them, I'm like, how old are you? They be like 20, but they look 60.
Well, they say the black don't crack, you know.
Black don't crack, but I done seen some cracking ass black folks.
Yeah, wellness looks good on everyone.
Wellness looks good on everybody. So if you're melanated, if you're less melanated, just keep yourself up, do what you can.
Everybody, honey.
I said melanated or not melanated.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm saying. I feel like I'm kind of, I don't want to say in the best shape of my life, but I think I have made the most concerted effort,
no doubt,
at being well that in this version of my adulthood, or in this season of my adulthood.
I would agree, because you went from, because when you were growing up, you was like a skinny man.
I was super skinny.
Like super duper skinny, like super skinny. And then I think when you had children, you felt the way about your body, right? And then you used to be like, you telling me, why you always going to the gym? And at first, when I was playing ball and stuff, it was about the physical, but then it became about the mental. So I think once you started like consistently working out, you was like, this is why you be doing what you exactly.
Save my whole little life.
Yeah,
save your life too.
That's true. I bet. I bet.
Yo.
So what's top of mind for me? Thank you for bringing that up. What's top of mind for me is, I think once again, just Gammy. I think Gammy's on top of mind, because in all honesty, we're not MDs, right? We're PhDs. And I think sometimes we would like to know, like, give me the exact what's going on with Gam, like you know, but
you're like, when is she gonna pass?
Like you
just want to date.
I don't want to like be like, okay, we're sitting here waiting for, but it's like, it's very interesting, because I love when she smiles. I love when she has more upbeat days, and then there's some days where it's just like, hey, what's going on, right? So so I think right now it's kind of like, it's all good, you know.
It's so interesting. Like Gam, we've talked about Gam on a lot of episodes. We've referenced Gammy on a lot of episodes. And I think it's really fitting for what we're talking about today, because it's like, I've said this before, it's like, how do you hold space and share space? Like, we are in the stage of our lives where career is big, where we're parenting, trying to carve out enough time to take care of ourselves, but then also caregiving for Gammy.
Don't forget about us.
Oh, and then our marriage. Oh my God. Yeah, that whole thing.
Damn, you see how you do?
Got to nurture that. You know, so
damn,
all the things. And then friends, like, if you really want
the social life,
because I have to tell you, I can be kind of like negligent when it comes to my friends. It's not in an intentional way, but it's really an energy thing. It's like, once you've worked, once you've taken care of your kids, you've had a connection with your husband, you've taking care of Gam, like I just don't be wanting to talk to nobody. I be tired.
But see, you're different.
Energy.
You're different than me, because I get energized being around people,
You a real extrovert.
Yeah, I'm an extrovert because I like people. I like bringing people together. I like, having a good time. But I think for you, you'll do that, but you're like, okay, I'm straight. I had enough.
I'm a fake extrovert. No, I'm what they call an ambivert.
Is it
I'm a social introvert.
A social introvert, okay.
Because I love people. I love the bonding, all about it, but it's kind of depleting.
Yeah.
And I talk to people for a living.
That's true.
So if I've done 7 sessions, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk on the phone.
No, hey, listen, I'm not even disagreeing with you. I get you. So with that said, I talked about Gammy being top of mind, and that's top of mind because today we're talking about pivoting.
Yeah, how you make transitions in life.
Yeah.
And
it was a big pivot for us to become caretakers, right? And we're going to touch that topic. But when it comes to pivoting, let's get a baseline here. Like, what are some areas that people pivot in? Like, what comes to mind for you?
Well, okay, pivot meaning have to change course,
right?
Or like have to pull an audible.
If you know sports, pivot. You got a pivot foot in basketball, football. We talk about pivot, like pivot all around. But pivot is making an adjustment in a sense.
Making an adjustment, having to change course, and I feel like we're constantly doing it. Like you're flushed into having to do it when you get married, and having to blend worlds together. You're thrust into doing it when you have children. You're thrust into doing it if you move. Like if you make a move, career change. Like even if it's in a unintentional one, like a layoff or something like that.
Yeah, pandemic created a hell of a lot of pivots.
Major pivot. So
relationship pivots, right?
Yeah.
People when once again in a relationship, there's 2 individuals usually. And other types of relationships, there's multiple, right? But if someone evolves in a different direction than what was first stated, that's a pivot for that individual.
Yeah.
And it becomes a pivot for the other partner in the relationship.
Just changing. Like I'm thinking of religion and spirituality.
Right.
Like how you practice that.
Or somebody's, I don't want to go to church no more.
Right.
That's like, okay. Money, say you start making more money, right? That's an adjustment, pivot. Less money.
Adjustment, pivot.
Right? So this pivots all around. The question is...
Even health and wellness stuff, like how we're talking about working out and things like that. Like I think that's a big... If 2 people enter a relationship in the same place and then one changes in the sense of like they become more... like they like working out more or even like...
Working out...
working out more.
Go ahead, touch it.
Babe, focus. Okay. Or even like cosmetic surgeries, like getting like gastric bypass or getting like mommy makeovers or getting like different.
Wait. Don't say major surgeries, then say mommy makeovers. What does that mean? Is that butt shots? That's what they call it. Is that like lipo?
It's usually like liposuction. It's like a series of different things. Tummy tucks or people deciding to like change their bodies.
That's big.
Like those are pivot.
Oh yeah, that's big.
When people lose a lot of weight or gain a lot of weight, those are pivot.
Yeah. So it's pivots.
Bring about a pivot.
It's pivots all around, and I think the question is, and I want to just come to you first. Like when was a time where it was a major pivot? Right?
Yo, I feel like my life is made up of a whole bunch of different pivots. I'm tired of pivoting. I want to chill.
Your ass going in circles. You just pivot.
Hey, on swivel.
No,
always pivoting.
But for real, like what comes to mind for you? Like your major pivot. And how about this? Let's make it even more creative. Let's talk our relationship.
Oh shit.
Let's start there. All right. We've been together 16 years. Would it be 17
total?
This year?
If you
total.
Count the dating, yes.
16 total. 12 married.
Mm-hmm. Almost.
What's a couple weeks?
Months. Couple months.
Couple weeks. 8.
Okay.
Not even.
That's not a couple. Couple's 2.
No. 7 weeks.
Oh, baby. Okay.
7 weeks. Okay, months. Okay, anyways.
I'm so proud of that, actually.
Yeah. So think of our relationship. Pivot. Talk to us about what you see as a time where we had to pivot or you had to pivot in this relationship?
Oh, we've had a lot of pivots. I mean, I do think, as I mentioned, I think the spirituality one is one, because when we first were dating and stuff, we were churchgoers all the time. We did all that, you know. I think honestly, I feel like our spiritual journey is actually probably more mature.
Yeah.
But it's not as ritualistic. So it's not as like, you know, those traditions.
Yeah.
So we don't do that as much. But yeah, so that changed, I feel like.
Okay.
I feel like, I mean, we've had a lot of them, actually.
Don't forget your mic, baby. Like,
we've had a lot of them, actually. Yeah, I feel like parenting, obviously.
yeah.
I feel like another big pivot was when you resigned from your W-2 job and started your business.
Yeah.
And another one is obviously when I resigned from my W-2 job and started my business.
Them was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those were two big pivots.
So you just rolling them off. Just you got a whole lot, huh?
And there's plenty more to come.
That's true. That's true. So let's go back. Okay, because when we first started dating, do you want to get into this? Because this
are you talking about sex?
Yes.
Oh, we can talk about it.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. I didn't even expect to come. I didn't even expect to come this. Okay, so when we first started dating,
we was smashing.
Wait, dang.
Well, you said, you know.
Goodness gracious. First off, we was, but, or shall I say we were, but, so this is the thing, because this is serious now.
Okay, baby.
Okay, I'm gonna stop smiling because I'm about to put my serious little face on.
Okay.
Anyways, so we were getting it in because we were in graduate school. We were doing our thing, and suddenly, if it felt like suddenly you decided you did not want to have sex anymore.
You right.
And to me, I'm like, you can't start a relationship having sex and then one person say, well, I don't want to do this right now. Because it causes a lot of confusion.
Yeah, but
hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
Because it would be better if at the beginning of a relationship, when you're first dating, someone says, you know what? I'm not having sex at this time in my life. That's not what I'm doing. And so either you're rocking with me or you're not. But in this case, it was like, hey, we getting it in. And then it was like,
nope.
No more. And I'm like, wait a minute. That was extremely hard to deal with. And you expected me to pivot to just like, nothing?
So I made a pivot and I expected you to come pivot with me.
You wanted me to come pivot with. That was hard for me. That was hard. Yeah. And I think we broke up.
We did.
Not because of that specifically, I think. It wasn't specifically that.
But it was correlated for sure.
It was a piece of that.
For sure.
So, okay. And
Sir.
I always wonder to the audience, let me talk to the camera. Is it right or not even right? How should one deal with first you're sexually active with your person, your partner, you're in a relationship, and then one person doesn't want to have sex? Is that right? How do you deal with that? Okay, back.
So, what I can say is that your experience of that is valid.
Yeah.
Because I imagine it felt kind of blindsided, kind of like, almost maybe even concerning, like why? Like what's wrong? Like what's going on? I also think, let's just keep it real, culturally speaking, if your partner who you're intimate with decides to stop, you start feeling like, well, who you messing with then? Like what's going on? It can really create a lot of insecurity in a relationship. Sure. So I think your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
However, the decision was right because for me, and I think that's what makes relationships so difficult. Like, because you don't always evolve or change or pivot at the same time.
For sure.
That's why long-term relationships are so hard. Now, I'm gonna tell you, and I stand by this because this felt very true to me. It's actually proven itself to be true, but it's felt very true to me. And I used to say this to you, but I don't think you really got it. Like, I felt like when we started dating, there was a part of me that really felt like this might be my husband. Like, this might be my person. And there was so many elements of my personal life that I did not feel had been attended to. So I was kind of like, if I was like a serial monogamous. I kind of felt like I had never not been in a relationship and not had sex, despite the fact that a part of me was feeling like all that stuff they say, like, you know, and then at that time I was going to church a lot more and all that. I just felt a lot of conviction in me, a lot of unsettledness, where it just didn't feel good, to the point where there's a new diagnosis for it now. But it used to be called vaginismus. Mm-hmm. And it's like the new name, I should know this, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's like a penetration disorder where you have a lot of pain during sexual intercourse. And it's not physical, it's psychological. It's in your head.
Thing, yeah.
So I was experiencing that. Sex was not pleasurable for me. And it was because of that kind of just disalignment, that internal conflict. Some people would call it psychological warfare, or they would call it spiritual turmoil, where you're just not living in congruence. And I felt like I've never had a relationship where sex was not a variable. And let's be real, sex does cloud judgment. It's a significant source of connection. And think about it physiologically, your endorphins, you know,
I get it.
And so when if I think I'm gonna marry you, I need to eliminate this to determine if the connection and the intimacy can endure.
I got you.
And what was really disheartening for me actually was I really was nervous to bring it to you. And I thought, well, what if we break up because of this? And then I started thinking, well, then that's the way it's supposed to be, because that's not the type of dude I want to be with anyway. You know how people be like, if he break up with you for that, then it's not meant to be. It is that, in a sense of like, if we can't endure this, then that's not who I'm supposed to be with anyway. And so I was like, I have to be willing to just, you know, let go and let God. Like, if we're not going to work out over this, then we're just not going to work out. And what happened was, because you were having to reconcile the backlash of it, or like the whiplash of it. Like, this is a random thing. I feel like it disconnected us, because your love language is physical touch. Let's be real. Sexual intimacy is very important to you, as it should be in most relationships.
It's not to you?
I don't want you to twist the point of what I mean. No. It is very important in any relationship. Right. And it's important to me. Right. But when sex is the core focus of intimacy and connection, and you're not practiced at creating that emotionally, spiritually, financially, and you rely on it, then it compromises connection. Yeah. And that's what happened. When we removed it, it was kind of like it disrupted connection. And over a little period of time, it was like we weren't really, I felt away, you felt away. And then I thought, and I'm still proud of this. I remember we were at a restaurant when we broke up. Remember? Yeah. We had this like mature breakup where I was kind of feeling like we do a lot together, and I don't want to hate this man. Like, I don't want to have ill feelings towards him. So if this ain't gonna work, then we might as well break up. So we did.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, 6 months later, we was back together?
I mean, it wasn't well, so let me say this, and I think it's important for me to be very clear as a older, wiser man, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things that I can say is, back then, when it was happening, there's a level of maturity that one must have to understand what a woman is going through. Right? And to be able to receive that in a way where it wasn't an attack on me. It was let me get myself together on your end. Right. And at the time, it definitely felt like, wait, what's going on here? Right. But when I look back, I understand it. Mm-hmm. it. And like you said, we had a mature breakup. It wasn't no beefing, crazy, all this foolishness, but what's very interesting is similar to what you said at the beginning. Like, okay, I think this could be my person, right? That I marry. I felt like that because I remember telling my mother that one time on the phone, like, man, I think I could marry this woman because I didn't really talk about getting married,
right?
That wasn't
your thing.
It wasn't necessarily in my plans like that.
Yeah.
But men know when they got a good one, and they know when they have somebody that you can grow with, right? But there's still growing pains, and this was one of the growing pains. And so when we broke up, and I know you started dating some clown.
Here you go. No, he was not a clown. No, but he was a nice guy.
You sure sticking up for him
because he was a nice guy.
Clown that? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I don't know him, so he probably was cool, whatever. But you started dating some dude, and I knew that we were getting back together, so I was actually paying on the ring while we were broke up.
That kind of got on my nerves a little bit, and it was cute at the same time.
Yeah, sometimes though. Sometimes
I was like, how you know I'm coming back though? Like, he was so cocky with it.
It wasn't about being cocky. It was more about like, you have a feeling, and when you trust your intuition and you trust, like, you kind of go with it. And
divine
that's what I did.
order, baby.
You go with it, and but there was a pivot for me, because it was hard. It was hard to deal with that, and I think even when you're in it, you don't know exactly what the pivot should be to help you in a sense, right? But you have to do something different in order for something to work.
Yes.
Right. And I think people have to understand when you're pivoting, sometimes you don't know exactly what it is, but you have to do something. And it's about sitting in that space and feeling those feelings that they may hurt, you may be sad.
It matures you.
Yeah,
it's required in a sense.
Exactly.
It matures you. I feel like I made the right decision at that time.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. I feel like it was probably I made a lot of bad decisions too, but I feel like that was one of the best decisions I made because it was honoring what was going to help me be a better wife ultimately. And I think it helped you to be a better husband in a sense too.
True.
And like, I think the other thing, because it propelled us a little bit into our future too, because the other pivot was, the other thing, I don't know if this was a pivot, was remember at one point we even talked about living together.
Oh, yeah.
And we just didn't. And that was another thing. I was like, well, if this is my forever person, I need to experience my independence a little bit so I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
But I ended up moving into your place when you left.
But I was gone on we didn't live together.
We didn't live together yet.
Yeah. So we didn't live together until I got married.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like I need to have my own.
Yeah.
I need to experience my own and reconcile some of this for myself before joining a life with somebody else.
I understand that. I understand that. So that was a
pivot.
No, that was for sure a pivot. And some people, they might be going through that right now, like trying to figure out, like, okay, this person. And I think nowadays it's very interesting because everything is sexualized.
Right.
Right. Like, it's so easy. Like you don't got to go look at porn. You go to Instagram. Right. I'm serious. I mean, right.
That's the truth.
You go to Instagram and you can see whatever you want to see. And I think like it makes it like, sex is supposed to be sacred, right? But I think it depends on who you talk to, right? There's perspective. There's perspective when it comes to what you should and should not do in regards to sex.
I mean, I believe people choose for themselves what they should and shouldn't do. What I would caution is to just be introspective. Like, what are the costs and benefits of every choice? You know what I mean? Just because something brings pleasure to you and connection to you momentarily, are you sacrificing something of greater value? So I think that's the thing. Like, I'm not fixated on any absolute perspective. Like, you should have sex or you shouldn't have sex before marriage. But if you feel internal confliction, then no.
Yeah.
If no, you have to listen to your divine intuition, your intuitive knowing.
Right.
So you can live healthily. Remember my word?
Healthily. I got you.
Know?
So there was another pivot that I want to bring up because that one I think it was a critical time in our lives. But another one is career, because a lot of people I work with a lot of unfulfilled career professionals that are looking to transition into a career in life that they desire without stress. So that means some of them are stressed at work. Some of them feel stuck. Some of them feel lost. Some of them feel burned out. Some of them just have no clue on what they should be doing. And that career move, right, in your profession, that's big.
Oh my goodness.
That's big.
Probably one of the biggest things we've done.
Yeah. And we've made several. You've mentioned them earlier, from, working at an institution to entrepreneurship to pivoting business. You know what I mean? So like when I think of it, especially when I left working full time, right? We had just had JoJo was
his baby.
JoJo, he was a baby. We weren't really making a lot of money, but something in my spirit, because what happens is, and I see this a lot, what happens is you hear people like, I hate this job. I'm going somewhere else. I want to do this. And 5 years down the line, they still working at the same place, doing the same thing, still complaining, right? And for me, I didn't want to do that. And I remember like just praying on it, right? And when it felt good in my soul, my spirit, I was like, this is time. Because usually you're like, I'm gonna do it in a few months or next year, but you never do it because you don't end up making the amount of money that you want to save. You don't end up, you know what I mean? It seems like it's never the right time. And I'm learning, like, when you're making certain pivots, it's never the right time until you have the ability to have discernment and feel good in your soul.
It's important to have discernment. It's important to be vigilant. And that is not the same thing as impulsive.
Very true.
You still need a plan.
You
need to practice your discipline.
Yeah.
But perfection is like not real.
There's no such thing.
Because
when I left, I'll never forget. I lost. It was almost $10,000.
Oh, I remember.
And I did not have no money like that.
I was there.
Ooh, it hurt.
Okay.
It hurt my pockets.
I'm having a trauma trigger. It's like, oh my God.
Listen, I went to that.
And I was like, it's okay, babe.
Oh, yeah. You held me down.
It's okay. I did.
You held me down for real, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But when I went, listen, I bought all these products. I flew out. I was somewhere for like 5 days. I'm not even going to name this big event that I went. I was excited. Boy, I got there. I sold about $70 worth of books. I was like, so when I add up how much product I bought, when I add up the flight out there, the hotel stay, the car, I lost almost $10,000. And for me, it was a lesson, right? And so my pivot was, especially for those who speak, like people know I speak for a living, let me say it like this. It's more beneficial for you to have a booth and sell your products when you're speaking. If you go somewhere and you're not speaking, people don't experience you, they don't feel what you said. Do not go and sell, because you're not going to sell as much, right? So the lesson for me was that, like, I'll never go anywhere else unless I'm a big time author or something, right? But I learned that lesson the hard way.
Well, my hope is that, so that's really good advice. Like, that's a very practical, tangible lesson.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these things are also lessons in teaching us about ourselves, like how we are in interaction with ourselves and with other people, because I hope it also teaches you. Because I remember this, and I remember just how sure you were.
Oh, I was like,
and,
I'm about to.
I tend to always be the one. Joe is more like the risk taker.
Yeah.
I tend to be a little bit more conservative with risk.
So, yeah.
They can work together really well. They can also battle, and they have battled. But what I hope it's also offered you is a window of perspective, because you can go so tunnel vision, like that this is what's going to happen. And it's like, well, babe, consider this. What about this? And it's like, no, this is what's going to happen.
True.
So the hope for me, and I've seen this over the years, is that it also allows you to kind of, I know we don't like this phrase, but like humble yourself in the sense of like, maybe there's a perspective I haven't considered, or maybe there's a consideration here that somebody else can offer me, So it's not just the tangible. It's like, how do I pursue these things?
True. And part, that even comes with maturity as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the thing is, like, one thing that I think you have to understand, but other like partners have to understand, is that sometimes when let me go to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I haven't acknowledged the things that I've heard you say to me, trying to just help me out, if I haven't acknowledged it verbally, it doesn't mean that it's not seared in my brain. Like,
I know.
What will Brandi say? Or what will, right? And I think sometimes because we don't verbalize it, it's almost like, you don't listen to nothing that I say.
Well, I mean, because you don't listen, but
I do listen.
No, but I hear what you're describing. Yeah,
Right?
that was a big pivot.
That was a big pivot.
And despite that, I don't think we would change it.
No,
like
hell
it's
no.
a part of just the story.
It's the
and
process.
it's a part of entrepreneurship. Like you take
Yeah.
a lot of L's. You have to build a lot of endurance.
Yeah, and part of that journey that a lot of people don't know is when we moved in your grandmama house. In the basement.
That was a huge pivot.
Ooh, that was
huge,
rough.
huge pivot. That was a huge pivot.
Yeah.
But I like what you said too, because a lot of times a pivot comes on the back end of a real subtle, intuitive nag, like something in your spirit that's like, this ain't it, or I need to change this.
Yep.
Now, if that goes unattended for too long, then it shows up, like you said,
Sure.
bitching, complaining, irritability, depression, burnout, like it wears you down.
Blaming everybody else.
It's something you're not attending to, usually. Something you're not attending to. And the pivot, when I decided, because then a couple years later, I decided, well, it's my turn. Like, I kind of want to quit too and do my own thing. And so we got 2 kids, 2 little kids. What, like 18 months? And
They was young.
Yeah, little kids. And not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like we was
We
managing
was broke, but we was nickel and diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just kept feeling like I can't do this.
In your soul.
In my soul.
You knew it, yeah.
I was at my job just feeling so increasingly disengaged and disconnected and worn down simultaneously, while having like ideas and creative thought and like all these other things I wanted to do. And then I was also feeling this pull on a personal level to go back to Michigan, even though I wasn't really feeling Michigan like that. Even everybody in my family was even like, you sure? Like, that don't even sound like you.
Because we was in nice sunny Florida.
I know, but it was just in me for almost a whole year. And I remember it was in October. See, you got to think too, what are your rituals of care? What are the things that you practice or that you do to gain clarity, to get centered? They all are birthed within you. So for me, that year, that was 2016, I did a couple fasts. So I was fasting and in prayer. And I remember in October, I kept, like for almost a whole year, this was on me. But I'm like, I don't really want to move back to Michigan, but I feel like I need to. And you were no help, because you was just like, whatever you want to do. But I hate Michigan.
First off, that's not no help. That's called support. What do you want to do? Yeah, I put in your hand. I said, I'm going to rock with you. I remember clear as day, like... It could, because it was about family.
That is support.
I was support.
No, I'm teasing you because I feel like your support comes like whatever I want.
But I'm speaking up for the men who feel like they partners
but
make them feel.
You want perspective.
No, I get you. I'm talking.
But you know what though? But your position was appropriate because I can't project that onto you. That has to come from me.
For sure.
So you were very supportive. But what it was in October, long story short, I remember like, why won't I like do this? Why won't I do this? And I kept thinking I was afraid. Like I was afraid. And what do you always say, babe? That the greatest drug?
Listen. I'm going to say it.
Say it.
The most addictive drug in the world.
Sugar.
Is not cocaine. It's not meth. It's not weed. It's not Percocets. The most addictive drug in the world is direct deposit. That thing had you stand at a job that you know you don't like.
Because
you scared, right? And when you don't know how much money you have coming in, there's fear there. And so you were afraid.
I was kind of feeling like, look, and the job I had, I was very well respected, So I felt like, why would I quit? Like I got good insurance. I have 2 kids. I live in sunny Florida.
Yeah.
The people at work adore me. They be getting on my nerves sometimes, but they adore me. I could do pretty much whatever I want. Like, why would I give this up?
Yeah.
And so I was laying on the couch and I just went to Instagram or YouTube at the time. And I pulled up a sermon by T.D. Jakes that was on fear.
Yeah.
And it said something like, sometimes you don't make a move and you don't transcend to your next stage of grace because you're afraid. And I was like, oh, that's me. You know how that go.
Yeah.
And the next day I went and told my boss I'm resigning.
There you go.
I was like, I got to resign. And then he cried.
Yeah.
It was so touching.
But just for clarity, as we get ready to close this out, just for clarity, it wasn't an impulsive decision.
No.
You have been working through it for like a year.
It was a whole year. It was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of meditation. It was fasting. It was consulting with people. It was all kind of stuff. Yeah. Talking to you, budgeting, And then I know we're going to close out, but I have to speak on this one because we just are on the other side of a couple of pivots. But the professional pivot is I just made a decision to discontinue my group practice.
Yep.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went back in 2016 and I quit my job so that I could go start a group practice. Yep. And I did. And it's been incredible. The Diane Morgan Group has been amazing. And now I'm, effective July 1, making another pivot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason for that is alignment. Yet again, that if my purpose and my mission is to change the game of mental health, to support liberated communities, that starts in my home. Yeah. And as caretakers now, that was not my situation.
It was too much. It was a lot.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
I want to live in love in my home. I don't want to be stressed out all the time trying to do billing. I want to be good for my clients. I don't want to be overly stressed, late to every appointment. Yeah. That compromises the reputation I've worked so hard to build. I can fulfill my mission in different form. That's the purpose of a pivot. You're not losing anything. You have everything to gain.
Yeah. And people got to see it from that perspective because, once again, a lot of people don't make the necessary pivots and adjustments in their lives because of fear, right?
And then we suffer.
And we create an even deeper level of suffering because we haven't done what we know we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And anybody that's thinking about pivoting, making an adjustment, you're thinking about it for a reason, right? So explore that. Don't be impulsive. You know what I mean? Make sure you're speaking to the right people, because what some people do is they like to get advice and information from people that are just as broken as they are. And that don't make sense, right? So you want to make sure that you have sound counsel, right? Get your spirit, that alignment, that mindset, heart set, soul set, get that spiritual life together. And I'm telling you, once you pivot, when you're on the other side of it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The Diane Morgan Group is still open for business. It's just more singular.
There you go.
I kind of had to consolidate our efforts. That's all. Yeah.
So what's your takeaway for today? We've been talking about pivoting.
My takeaway is that it's a lot of work to live well.
Yeah.
You maximize your benefits, but you can't think that wholehearted living is easy and that it always feels good. I said this the other day. I'm like, living a good life does not always feel good. Nope. You have to develop tolerance for discomfort. Yeah. Become a friend to fear. Like, fear can actually be, if you look at it the right way, it could actually be like an indicator. Like, I'm on the impetus of something. Yeah. You know?
There go that word, impetus. There you go.
Oh, shoot. Here you go. What's your takeaway, honey?
My takeaway is just that prepare for a pivot, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's career, even if it's and for lack of a better word, even if it's killing your old self, right? These are pivots that are gonna happen, right? And just prepare and know when it gets there, don't be afraid of it and do what's necessary to get through. All right? Listen, with that said, this podcast is brought to you by the Diane Morgan Group, Joe Johnson Group, and remember, our life, our career, relationships, everything that we do is one hell of a ride. Take care.